Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Ask the Chief Exec, your opportunity to ask Paul Miller questions directly. First up, we've got a question about meeting times. So I'd like to ask the Chief Exec why meetings are still starting at 12 noon in February and finishing around 2:30. Surely a later start time would encourage more spectators to attend.
Good question. Good point, actually. I guess part of it is, yes, could be right. They've always started at that time. It potentially suits the volunteers that they've got, that it works better for them. I guess it also gives the opportunity, if there are any split races, divided races, it gives them a bit more time later in the day, that it's not starting to get dark at that point. But I think it's a good point. I think February, particularly the later part of February, they could start to run a little bit, or start running a little bit later. Let me have a look. I've got a planner here. 1 second. And I think this is one actually I'll feed back to the Point-to-Point Secretaries Association, who organise the calendar, and it is left up to the individual fixtures, their start and finish time. So yeah, there are actually quite a few, even at the end of February, starting at 12. March, one starts at 1, 12:30, 1. So March, they seem to start getting a little bit later, but good question. I think that's probably what it is. They're just used to doing it. It suits the volunteers that they have, and it gives them a little bit more leeway if they do have to divide a race. But that's one I will pass back to the next meeting of the PPSA.
Okay, question 2. I'm quite a form book student, but haven't seen a satisfactory explanation of the 0 to 110 series qualification criteria, when horses rated officially are well above this. Could Paul explain how it works?
Yeah, a few people have asked this question. I like not being prepared for these questions. It's good. So the not 210, I'll tell you how we came up with the idea. So we had two groups actually came up with the idea individually. So there was a committee at the Jockey Club looking at how they could help pointing. They came up with the idea of, they were actually talking about being not 205 at that point. We also had a race planning group led by Beverly Thomas in pointing, looking at different race ideas. They came up with the same idea, but not 210, they thought. So we decided we would try it this year as a 10 race series, go with the not 210. It's sponsored by the Jockey Club with a final at Warwick in May. The way it works is, so a horse has to have an under rules handicap rating, and it has never been above 110. So that's where that's come from. What you will see on the Point-to-Point website is a point-to-point rating, and that could be 119, 120, whatever, but it's not an official handicap rating. So it is the handicap rating that the horse has got either in Ireland or GB. We haven't used French handicap ratings of German because they're a bit different. It becomes a bit too complicated. So we stuck to that, not 110. So if it does look as if there's a bit of an anomaly on the website by rating, it's because it's its point-to-point rating, not its handicap one. And I'll just clarify a couple of things on that series as well, because people have asked questions about it. So there is the final in Warwick. Every horse that runs in the series qualifies for the final. But every horse that wins, so a horse wins one of these races in this series, it's guaranteed a run if it wants in the final, whereas the other horses might be balloted out if the number of entries goes above the safety factor. Once a horse has won a race in the series, it can't run in it again. But as I say, it qualifies for the final. But every single horse that runs potentially qualifies for the final.
Okay, question 3. I understand the situation surrounding novice rider races needing clarification, but does the Chief Exec realise he's effectively excluded up to 20% of novice riders by dropping the weights from 12 stone to 11 stone 9?
So a couple of people have talked about the novice rider allowances. We haven't actually changed them. So what we haven't done, we haven't upped the allowance. It's always been a £5 allowance. What we've done is just extended it to 10 wins and above. So they've got it until they win over 10 races. We've also used to be claimable only in open races. So we've expanded that to most types of races. But the actual allowance itself, we haven't changed that £5 allowance. It was something about the weight that had been floated before potentially could caused some issues with weights. But it's one of those things. We discussed it at the last PPA board meeting. We'll discuss it the next one in March, and then we'll discuss it in May before the end of the season, and we'll decide at that point how it's going to shape for next season. But as I say, we haven't changed it. All we've done is we haven't changed the allowance itself. All we've done is expanded number of wins.
Question 4. I'd like to know the rationale behind changing the website. Particularly, I think it's regressed and now is missing key information.
Ooh. The rationale behind changing the website is the old one wasn't fit for purpose. It really, really wasn't. When you look at the size of our sport and as a national sport, it was old, it was clunky, it didn't work, it wasn't fit for purpose. And almost every single person that I met for the first time said, please get rid of that website, please build a new website. We've done that, and I think it's the all websites. Some people like what they see and some people don't, particularly when things change and the way the kind of flow or the user experience works. So the website was built, it was launched. We are taking feedback from various people on what could be done better, because without doubt there are bits that are a little bit clunky and difficult to navigate. But Philip Lodge at Weather-Based PPRC, who run the website, he's already in discussions with the website, the company that built the website, to see how the certain parts of it can flow better and be easier, particularly I think around the data side and the former forces. But I think otherwise, I'm delighted with that website, and the feedback has been really, really good. So I'm happy. But yes, it was a no-brainer. The old website just was not good enough. Thanks for those questions. They're appreciated. Please do keep them coming, because I'm actually enjoying this. And I like the fact that they just get thrown at me. I don't know what the questions are in advance. So I kind of like that. It makes me think, it keeps me on my toes. So yes, keep them coming, and see you in a couple of weeks.